we have already seen, or we were dealing in the chapter of directing with motivation. We were talking about supervision, and in this session we are going to see another element which is very important when we are coming to directing, and that is called communication. Or communication is a very important thing which is to happen in an organization in order to make things going well in that organization. Now we are going to see about the third factor or third aspect in the function of directing, and that is communication. We start with the session communication. What is communication? This word communication comes from a Latin word which is called communis, which means common, and it is implied that it's talking about a common understanding, because communication is transfer or exchange of information. If you are asking what is communication, the meaning of communication is transfer or exchange of information. Some information is being exchanged, and that exchange of information creates a common understanding, and that is why that term has come from the Latin word communis. It implies common understanding. Some information, some idea, some thoughts, or whatever be, some information is being exchanged, and which creates common understanding. And what is this information? What all can be this information? It can be ideas, it can be thoughts, it can be views, it can be facts, and it can be feelings. Anything it can be. It can be ideas, thoughts, views, facts, feelings, anything of information which is being conveyed. And it need not be printed, or it need not be verbal every time. It can be non-verbal also. It can be visual. It can be by hearing. It can be by drawing. So it need not be verbal every time. Communication or transfer of information can be verbal and non-verbal. Now coming on, one more thing is there. This happens always between two persons. For better understanding of communication, it is better that you look into this picture. Communication is exchange of information, and when we are exchanging this information, it passes from sender to receiver. That information is being moving from sender to receiver, and the information is called, that content is called as message, and it passes through a medium through which this information is exchanged. And there is something called encoding happening. Encoding. That means we are transferring this communication into symbols, which is helping us to send it to the receiver, and it is sent through a media. It can be phone, it can be letter, anything. And once before media is received by the receiver, he decodes it. Decoding happening. So encoding and decoding is there, and once the receiver receives this message, automatically it creates an effect for him. He either understands, he doesn't understand, he gives a feedback. That is a response for the message what he has received. And at times there can be some obstruction, or some hindrance can be there in the process of communication, and that is termed as noise. So this is what is happening in the transformation or exchange of ideas, thoughts, or feelings, or whatever be. This is the whole thing happening. So this is what is called as the process of communication. Process of communication starts from sender. So we will try to see, this is the process of communication. Keep this picture in your mind, okay? So this is the process. Sender sends a message which is encoded through a media, and it is received by the receiver by decoding it, and it has a feedback, and based on feedback again it is going to the sender. He may have to resend the message, or the feedback will be given to the sender. He received it or not, or he understood it or not by the receiver. And there can be hindrance in the process of communication, which is termed as noise, obstruction or hindrance. Now, for your understanding, elements of communication. Elements of communication, what we have seen in the picture, just for your understanding I have put it like this. Elements of communication. First, communication always starts from a sender. Sender is the person who conveys his thoughts or ideas or feelings or whatever be to the receiver, to another person. So, sender is the person from whom messages move or message has been conveyed by sender. And what is message? Message is the content which is being conveyed. Message is the content. What is the idea? What is the thought? What is the feeling? That content which is being conveyed is called message. And that message is being encoded. What is encoding? Encoding is process of converting message into communication symbols. It can be in pictures, it can be in drawings, it can be in words. So, whatever be, it is being converted into communication symbols. So, converting into communication symbols in order to send it to the receiver, that is called encoding. And this encoded message is sent through a media. What is media? Media is a path. Media is the path through which message is transmitted. It can be phone, it can be computer, it can be letter, whatever be. So, the media is the path, and this message which is being sent through media, which is being encoded, has to be decoded. Decoding means converting the encoded symbols which is being sent by the sender in order to be understood by the receiver. Again, it has to be converted in such a way that receiver understands that activity, or that is called as decoding. And after that, there is a person called receiver. Receiver is the person who receives the message, receives the communication. The content has been received by a receiver. And of course, when the content is reaching receiver, there is a feedback. What is feedback? Actions of receiver indicating understanding. Whether he understood it or not understood, whatever be, he react on that. Clarifications or for understanding things according to what is being said. So, that there is an effect, That effect of communication which is being received by the receiver is called as feedback. And there can be noise. Noise is the obstruction or hindrance to communication. It can be problem in the telephone connection. It can be some problem which is happening with, or whatever is written is being in a way such it is not it is not legible. Whatever be, whatever obstruction there is for communication, we call it by the name noise. So, this is the process of communication, and these are the elements of communication. It is the elements of communication which are there in the process of communication. Communication is exchange of information, facts, ideas, thoughts or feelings from receiver from sender to receiver.